Hello, I am the current president and SKPW Heavyweight Champion Samuel Falsey, primarily at Super Crazy Wrestling, and I am joined by my favorite podcast of all time, CCP Podcasting. Check them out.
What is happening, friends of CCP Podcasting? Welcome to Beyond the Bell Live. I am Chris Page, and it is a Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern here down in Florida, 7 p.m. out where JB is at. What is going on, brother? I'm glad to have you in the co-host seat tonight. How are you, sir?
It's good to be here, Chris. It's been a while since I've been here for one of these Beyond the Bells, so I'm excited. And you found a way to pull me back into it. You said, "Hey, how about this?" and just kind of dangled it in front of me, and got me back in here. And I'm really happy to be here.
It's the carrot, man. It's the carrot effect. All I had to do was say, "Hey,
I prefer the carrot over the stick."
I'm saying, brother, I am. Listen, before we get into our show and we get our guest in here for tonight, let's go over a couple quick announcements. Tomorrow night, guys, live, 7 p.m. Eastern, our Wrestling Spotlight. Going to be on none other than Tim Dynamite. He's out of Jersey, up north, out of Super Crazy Pro Wrestling. Also does some stuff with Fight Pro. If you have not seen this guy, you need to. He's tremendous. We've been watching him for 2 years. Tomorrow night, we've got 2 hours on deck of all-night Dynamite. You will not deny Tim Dynamite after tomorrow night. I guarantee you that. JB, it's not it, brother. We got a lot of things happening. A lot of moving parts. 31st of January is right around the corner. Chapter 2, Next Level. In Castleberry, Florida, we have got a loaded lineup, 9 matches on the card. I've got some of the best from Southern California. I've got somebody coming down from New Jersey with Devious Cass, J2, the Pump Line, G4, all the mixed in with a lot of the guys down here in Florida on the local scene as well. It is going to be a happening. I'm telling you, your tickets are still available at ccppodcasting.com. You want to be there? I'm telling you, this is going to be wild. Let's get into why we're here tonight, JB. I did not know when I sent a blind DM if it was going to be answered, and it was, because tonight we're going to be joined by royalty, and not just royalty, some straight Florida royalty here in the Sunshine State. He comes to us from up north. Brother's been doing this since 20 years. Was trained more than, if I'm not mistaken, trained by AFA, and here over 2025, actually from 2023 to 2025. Brother has just upped his match count like it's going out of style. And in 2025, King of the Territories and Coastal Championship Wrestling. Coastal Championship Wrestling is the world's heavyweight champion. He has built a following that corrected me real quick when I did not refer to him as the sexiest king in all of professional wrestling. I'm talking about the one and the only Mr. Eddie Valentine. How are you, sir? Welcome to Beyond the Bell, brother.
Gentlemen, do not be afraid to feast your eyes on the 50-inch chest of the sexiest king alive. Your Highness, King Edward Valentine, first of my line.
I love it, man. Welcome to the show. How are you?
How are you doing, fellas?
We're living the dream. JB, we're being joined by our liege, if you will, for tonight's show. Mr. Valentine, I know you and I have had an opportunity to watch a lot of him over the last year or so with CCW. Definitely wanted to have you on board with this one tonight. So welcome our guest in.
Well, it's great to have you here. I'd kiss the ring. I don't see a ring, but I'd kiss it if I could. Thank you for being here.
You bend the knee. You bend the knee, and you
my knees don't like bending.
That's because we're old. That's what happens when you get old. You don't have an oil can anymore. I just want to give him the we're not worthy. That's where it's at right there, brother. Mr. Valentine, like I said, this is going to be a great conversation. I've been looking forward to having this since we locked this down a couple of weeks ago, and truly, I'm a big fan of what you're doing out there with the territory stuff, and really how you leaned into it in 2025. Before we get started and get into like some of the modern stuff, for me, I like to know where your fandom began. When did you fall in love with professional wrestling? What drew you in?
I grew up in Pennsylvania, so for me it was Hogan era Saturday Night Main Event. I remember watching that for the first time on television. I must have been 7 when I saw it, and that's it started right there. like all the Hogan era guys, Randy Savage, Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, Ravishing Rick Rude, Rick Martel, Ric Flair, then Ultimate Warrior, Honky Tonk Man, all those, Greg the Hammer Valentine, obviously. That's where I fell in love with wrestling. Earthquake.
Oh man, John Tenta, brother. That's a name that doesn't get mentioned enough, in my opinion.
No, and he was very underrated, in my opinion, even as well regarded as he is. He's an underrated big man wrestler.
Absolutely.
Just incredible.
Absolutely. I got an education on John Tenta not too long ago with our friend from Grapple Arcade, who was a big Tenta fan, and I knew he was a sumo wrestler prior to. What I did not know is why he stopped doing sumo, because he was getting ready to make some major money in Japan, but they wanted him to cover tattoos, and he was like, "No, I'm not doing it." And then went into wrestling in Japan. I was like, "No, that was a piece of the story with Tenta that I was not aware of," and I went, good for him for standing on his morals, or of standing on what he wanted to do, and then just transitioning right into the ring from there. JB, what would you like to start?
Well, I mean, you've talked about, you started with Hogan, you got all those, but what is the moment you really remember, like that absolute moment? Was it, the Savage Warrior? Was it Jake the Snake and the Undertaker? Was it, was there a moment where you said, "Oh, I wish I was in there"?
That's a good question. Probably Bret Hart and Kurt Hennig at SummerSlam. Like I was like about my brother and I, a younger brother, we're 2 years apart, and both our favorite wrestler was Kurt Hennig. Was Mr. Perfect. Like the vignettes, he was like incredible in the ring and everything. But I think that was the first match. Was there like I was like I would want to do this.
When you
I'd love to be in there and do this.
You say,
he was
man,
flawless with a towel. He was flawless with that towel.
Oh my God, yeah.
Towel, gum, a pencil,
the gum.
It's all of it, man. When you say Kurt Hennig, dude, that was my dude. In his own my Mount Rushmore, really. Like I think that he was really underrated too, to a degree, and it's a shame that he never got the big championship. He could put on a great match with anybody, literally fucking anybody. And you had Heenan. If you had Heenan in the mix with him, it was a can't miss.
Yeah, he was the guy that I would look at and be like, this is like, if I could describe the perfect wrestler, it would be Kurt Hennig. I'm like, this guy's like the perfect wrestler.
Well, pun intended.
He was perfect.
He absolutely was. Well, when did you decide that you wanted to try and give this a go? When did that cross your path, and what did it look like for you to break in?
It didn't I didn't. I was pushed into it. Kind of dragged into it. I started playing football around 12 and lifting weights, and I got into freestyle wrestling in school, throughout high school and everything. So when I went to college my freshman year, I was living on campus. I had a roommate, and he was a very big man. He ended up wrestling as Hog up in the Northeast, and he went for a tryout. And he was like, we were all wrestling fans in this dorm townhouse. And he came back and he was like, you gotta come and do this. You gotta try out. You can do this. And I only weighed about 150 pounds at the time. I wrestled at 140. So I wasn't I was small. Right. I was like, I don't know, man. And he's like, come on, do it. And I didn't know what I was going to college for in the first place. I was sick of school. I was like, all right, I finally caved. I was like, I'll go and I'll try out. When I went to the tryout at the time, this was in Hazleton, and I remember it was Johnny Glitter was in charge of the school at the time. This was shortly before Offed moved the Wild Samoans up. It's the same building. That became the Wild Samoan School. But I remember going up there for my tryout. It was one of those, they take your money for the tryout. I forget how much it was at the time. It's like $150. And if you sign up, they take that off the cost of your tuition and everything. And then they beat the ever-loving shit out of you. And, you know, if you don't come back, well, they just made $150. And if you do come back, they'll take the rest of your money and train you. Right? So they ran me down pretty good. But I made it through everything. I did everything. And then I remember the last part of my tryout was I had to shoot wrestle one of the vets. One of the wrestlers, and I was like, okay, like he was probably had at least like 50, 60 pounds on me. He was Jay Love, I think his name is. Yeah, if it serves me correctly. So I had to shoot wrestle him, and I think he eventually got blown up because I knew how to wrestle on the mat, even though he was like bigger and everything. Got my earring tore out during the wrestling match. It was the last time I ever got any kind of piercing. I was like, that's not going to work because I had already decided, like, by the time I got out of there, I'd already signed up. I drove away. I was like, I'm going to do this. I knew then. That was the moment I was like, I'm gonna make it go out of being a professional wrestler.
So you talk about like the old school mentality. That's when I broke in the same way. Was very old school style. It was like, you know, mid '99, and it was more of a you know, show up here. This is where we're gonna be, and even then, like it was like even getting to that point, like it was going to the Indies on. I'm from Alabama originally. I live in Florida now. Just, you know, not in Gainesville to be specific. But it was just kind of like, you know, we had to go to the Indies. You had to, you know, ask the guys, and after doing that for a year was when somebody was like, you need to talk to him and he'll set you up. But literally got the shit kicked out of me for the first week, and it was 4 days a week, and I remember going home with bruises on my back and just welts all over my body, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing here? But then you stick with it, and then it all kind of goes away, and it was just one of those things. So when you get in there and you start training, you know, with AFO, what was the relationship like there? Was that more of a draw, or was it just in you know, an initial thing like, I definitely want to do this, or did that have a piece to do with it?
Well, he came in and like took over the school. Like I said, they moved from Allentown up to Hazleton, and I had to sit down and have a discussion with him because of that, like literally because of my size. Like he was like, I'm not sure, like, if I'm gonna train you because of your size. And I remember he said, Pop said something about like Billy Kidman and everything, and he decided to allow me to train there, and I was felt very grateful for that. You know, it would have been crushing to have been told, like, just, you know, like yeah, you're not big enough for me to train you. So I always felt very fortunate and grateful that he took me on at that time. Got bigger eventually.
Well, it's a wealth of knowledge too. Like that's a whole, you know, a whole nother untapped level that I'm not gonna say a lot of people don't get, but, you know, depending on where you're training and who you're training with, like that's a pretty big deal, and it's a pretty big situation for you.
Look, I will go on record as saying that the Samoans training, as far as like the bumps and being able to stay safe and do this correctly, is the direct reason I can still do this now today in 2026. That I could go out there and wrestle like, you know, 60, 70 matches in a year and do handle the physicality of this. I directly attribute it to their training. It is superior. The Samoans wrestle and move in the ring like it's like they're born to it. When I was there, I just seen Lance the other day, Lance Anoa'i.
Mm-hmm.
He was 5 years old and climbing to the top rope and just all around the ring. Like like their training is superior.
I love hearing that too, man. It gives me the warm and fuzzies. JB, let me come around to you. Do you have any questions about training and before we shift and move forward?
just, you obviously you had your background going in. You went through, I know, several places where you were earning your experience. You made your way to Combat Zone Wrestling, I believe. You can say you were there with the Briscoes. You were there with some other great tag teams, in my opinion, because I loved CZW back in the day. And I'm kind of thinking, were you feeling like you were starting to add on every match you had? You were starting to add on something new. Was that the way it kind of worked for you?
Prior to Combat Zone Wrestling, I've been wrestling for Pennsylvania Championship Wrestling and East Coast Wrestling Association. It was Super 8 fame and everything. That's when the Briscoes first trained. I was an assistant trainer down at WrestleTech in Delaware when they trained when they were 15 and 16 years old. That's when I first started working with them. And it was those were indie promotions that could the Attitude Era WWE guys could take bookings at these promotions. So I had the opportunity. I was working with Attitude Era guys prior to this. And Pennsylvania Championship Wrestling closed down after 2000. So in 2001 is when I went to Combat Zone Wrestling. And there was a bunch of us, Pennsylvania Championship Wrestling guys and ECWA guys that made the move from to Combat Zone Wrestling. So if you watch 2001, 2002 Combat Zone Wrestling, a lot of those guys were Pennsylvania Championship Wrestling and ECWA guys that went to move. There was some sort of Combat Zone Wrestling had a stigma back then, and promoters didn't want at the time would not book you if you went to wrestle for Combat Zone Wrestling. A lot of us got unbooked from ECWA at that time for that reason.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, so that's how I got there. Like all my buddies said, go on there. Me and Nick Mondo had been a tag team in ECWA, and we were supposed to wrestle the Backseat Boys, Trent Acid and Johnny Kashmere, and supposed to be ECWA's version of Christian and Edge versus the Hardys. It was supposed to end in like a ladder match and everything. And it never happened because they started wrestling for Combat Zone Wrestling, and I was the last one left in ECWA with nothing left to do. And I was like, that's where I ended up. Me and Briscoes ended up wrestling there the same night together. 3-on-1 handicap with Trent Acid, first Combat Zone Wrestling.
You say Trent Acid, man, and that is a name. That is a blast from the past, dude. Like that's a name that was out there for such a long time ago, and I haven't heard the name in such a long time. So it blows me away, and it also blows me away. I knew about the 3-on-1 handicap match. Obviously, I did research before we had you come on the show, and so I knew about the Combat Zone Wrestling, and I also know that you were able to pick up tag titles there at one point in time. What's that look like for you, and how did that feel when you obviously get this opportunity?
So that was a milestone because we worked so hard to get there, and I give a lot of the credit to Trent and Johnny Kashmere especially, because they did not have to do that for us that night. Like, they kind of pushed forward. We had been working together in Combat Zone Wrestling. We had some great matches together, and we worked really well together, and they were great to wrestle. Just we had, I think we had a lot of fun together too, and really beat the hell out of each other. And that was, they were cool with it that night, and we were that was a big moment for me in my life.
I'm telling you, dude. I remember. I mean, I don't know if that was your first championship or not at that point, but I remember the first. And keep in mind, guys, we're talking independent wrestling, and then this is in the late '90s and early 2000s, so it wasn't like it's not a big deal by any means, right? It's a belt. But when I won my first one, I looked at the press. Are you sure? So I was 19. You know what I'm saying? I was like, wait, what? I mean, okay, but brother, you got Buff Bagwell running around here. can he not do this for us? I don't, I mean, it was just one of those things, but to get that opportunity, it's being trusted, within the confines and structure of any company in some form or fashion. And, knowing that you busted your ass to even get there. And it sounds like that you had to kind of Andy Dufresne this, crawl through shit to come out cleaner on the other side when you deal with tribalism and stuff of that nature. But to come out on that other side and get that recognition has gotta be special. And it's gotta mean a lot to you.
It wasn't the first one that I'd had, but it was the biggest one up until that point. Like I was like, Combat Zone Wrestling did have television back then, so it wasn't it was at least half the country had Combat Zone. You could watch Combat Zone Wrestling on television.
Yeah,
very late at night.
Doesn't matter.
I had VHS tapes.
Very popular with
I definitely had a couple of VHS tapes of CCW.
And so I do remember it was the first one where I really felt the pressure.
Yeah.
I really felt a lot of pressure on that one. And I was not handling pressure well. Like at that time, I was like 21 years old, and I was doing a lot of work with The Office with John Zandig too, which was, I know a lot of people have their heat and their John Zandig stories. I always got along with John Zandig. Like, he treated me well. He took care of me. He bought me a car at one point because I was driving down from Reading, Pennsylvania down to Deptford or was Sewell. No, Deptford, New Jersey was where the Combat Zone Wrestling School was at the time. And I was driving back and forth from there like all week till I killed my car, and he bought me, it was a cheap car, but it was a car,
To and from, brother. That's all that matters right now. To and from.
So I was like, going to meetings with him and stuff like that. That was an experience in and of itself and stuff like that. So, and I was dealing with like coming out at the time. I was in the closet at the time and everything. And like, I kind of had a mental break at that point in time. Like, around like late 2002, like CCW, I kind of cracked. So I got out of there.
Well, you just mentioned something about, coming out, and I told you this before we came on the air. We also have a mutual friend that I don't think, well, maybe you're aware of. You know Gary, was down here. Yeah, everybody loves Gary. Gary's a good dude.
He messaged me right before I came on.
He shot me. I talked to him Saturday on a Beyond the Bell, and of course he was filming me and over the course of this movie project, and he hit me up and he had told me, he was like, I just found out that Eddie Valentine is gay and I didn't know it. And I was like, really? Because neither did I. Now, obviously Gary knows about me. He stayed at my house. So like, so I was
okay.
I was like, neither did I. I didn't know either, but we did have a chance to talk a few minutes before we came on the air about this. And I do want to talk about it because what I have learned over the last, year or so of these conversations that we've had, especially from some of the younger generations who are gay or LGBTQ plus or whatever acronym we're using with it, that are gay. Like they have issues with some of the wrestling business. And so when I get someone who comes on, I can get them on who is a success story in professional wrestling. Like right now, modern day, you are riding a pretty big high here in Florida. Like that, there's no doubt about it. Oh, yeah. And on the independent scene, it's a lot harder to get that recognition and to get that momentum going. So to see a success story that was there from the beginning, because I've had plenty of family members, as I call us, come on the show and or have talked about it in the past. We all grew up differently. We all grew up in an industry that was different. When I first stepped in the ring, it was like I saw people get beat up. I saw a lot. Like, it made me sick at times, and it made me question why I was even doing this, because I had not admitted to myself that this was who I am, right? So from your perspective, for anyone that's out there that may be listening, that is LGBTQ plus, that might be having a hard time in the wrestling industry, whether it be with promotions or whether it be with just acceptance in general. What kind of advice can you give them from a man who has been doing this 20 plus years under this banner? And I did find out before we came on, you were the second man to come out, or the second person to come out in professional wrestling as openly gay. So I know it's a lot to talk about and a lot to bring up. And another question that I will throw in, I know it's not fair because I just gave you a whole lot, is from your perspective, when you did make that move at that time, times are different. You know, it was a pretty big situation. So I guess let's start with that. What led to you making that decision that now was the time to come out at the time that you did? And then we'll kind of get into what we can talk about with the kids today that may be having some of these issues, or maybe having some problems, or maybe questioning whether or not this is something that they should be doing.
Yeah, that is a lot, Chris.
I know. We'll start with coming out first.
I'll start, and I'll start by prefacing this as to times are vastly different now,
Yes.
and they are a million times better now. So I know a lot of younger people don't have a point of reference, but when I came out, there was one other guy out. And I know because I looked before I came out, because I didn't want to be the first one to come out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean out, publicly out, not like the boys know on the back and they're okay with that. That's different.
Right.
I mean, just to be out in public and out, and people ask and you tell them, and that's like out.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with this. Yeah, it's different. The first is Simon Sermon.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know who Simon Sermon is.
I'm very familiar. I've not met him yet. I look forward to the time when I can.
All right. Anybody that is GLBT and professional wrestling, and I don't hear his name get brought up nearly enough. He deserves like almost all the credit, like for just being the first one, because he was the first. He was it. He was it. When I looked, he was it. There was nobody else. They had a documentary. This is 2002, 2001, 2002. 2002. Yeah. And I'm like, he was the only one. And I was like, okay, I'm at least I'm not the first one.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of had a like drugs at the time too, and combat zone wrestling. That was not uncommon, but I kind of had this revelation, I kind of switched in my brain. Like, I used to think I was just a fucked up straight person, because being gay was not what my understanding through social media and what I was taught in class and everything else was not what a gay person was. Right? That was vastly everybody's version of a gay person was either Pride Parade, Real World, and all gay people had AIDS.
Mm-hmm.
That was that's the baseline you're working with, and and I won't drop F-bombs on your podcast.
Oh, you can say whatever the fuck you want to say. We're
very
not
common vernacular. So it wasn't exactly a welcoming event. I was concerned about my safety, about being in danger. About my work, my bookings. Would I be able to find work? It's definitely gonna be a thing. Mm-hmm. There's no way it's not. So that was the kind of the state of things when I came out. This was before Canyon came. So it was just scary time. But I decided I was just gonna, I'm just gonna stop lying about this. It was just breaking me mentally and spiritually, just crushing me. I couldn't function. So I just finally decided to rip the Band-Aid off. This is what's going to be. I'm going to deal with the consequences of it and move along as best I can.
That's kind of been my mentality about things too. It took a while to get there, right? We all reached that point in our own time and when that time comes. And I think my time came probably about 10 years ago. Was about the time when I was like, you know what, fuck it. At this point, you know, I have a loving husband who is very supportive of what I do. I work a full-time job. I come and I do this for another 40, 50 hours a week. So 2 full-time jobs. And still he is by my side. And I was like, I don't give a fuck. Anybody else, if you have a problem with that, and you have a problem with somebody who wants to stand by you, man, I don't know if I want to be around you. You know, it doesn't matter who makes you happy as long as somebody makes you happy. Everybody deserves that. Everybody should have that. And I do think that it's at that point in time, and I was there. I lived it at that point. You know, I was not out. I was very much in the closet for in the locker room and out in public because of things that I had saw. So to know that you had the courage to take that, to just stand up and say, you know what? I don't care if you like it. This is who I am, and this is who I'm going to be. And if it affects business, then I probably don't need to be working with you anyway. It's that kind of mentality that I really appreciate that, and it really resonates with me.
Yeah, what else are you gonna do? You know, so that's kind of where it started. But I would say, like, things changed rapidly over the course of a decade. By 2009, my husband and I started. It was his idea. We were flicking through the channels. He's like, why? There's gay rodeos. Why aren't there gay wrestling shows?
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't there gay wrestling shows? So we started a gay wrestling promotion. First GLBT wrestling promotion, Pride Pro Wrestling. We only ran it for 2 years. But it was some of the most fun time. And again, even in 2009, there's not any other, like, there's not. There's very few, very, very, very few. Nobody had come out in WWF yet or anything else like this. So there's not hardly anybody else out on the indies. So 2 of the guys that we brought in, Jason Havoc and Chase Holmes, they were still, like, in the closet, in the business. When we invited them to come on, it just because, like, we knew that they were, and they came on. And then we had Sergeant Dixon come down from Canada. And I had a couple others just like that were on the far sides of the country that I couldn't afford to bring in, but that was it. It was mostly just there was 3 out wrestlers on a GLBT show that was filled with generally straight wrestlers that wrestled for me at other places in my other promotion that were cool with it. Like, I still get bugged to this day about those shows. There were some of those guys tell me that it was some of the most fun shows that they've ever been on.
I
ran a nice, like, fun show. We did that for a couple years. So that's 2009, 2010. You know, and then Darren Young came out in WWF, the huge deal. You know, like, it's just like in 2025, 2026, I should say. Moved on to 2026 now. It's, for all the challenges, it's easier and safer and more opportunities than there ever was for an out GLBT wrestler, gay wrestler, in 2026 than there ever was. Not to say that there's not its own challenges. And I would say, if you ask me for the best advice, some people might not want to hear this. I don't brand myself as a gay wrestler. I am a wrestler who happens to be gay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, there's what I would call the gay spot, you know, but that's limited. That's going to be by necessity. That's going to be there's going to be a lot of competition for you're limiting yourself even more. So I'm out about it. If anybody asks, I have no problem talking about it. But I do not go out and I do not put the gay in front of everything else. I just don't.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way.
It has worked better for me that way. I have been. I feel as though that has made it. You know, I feel like I'd be limiting myself if I were to do that.
No, I get that 100% because I'm kind of the same way in the same aspect. Like I have no problems telling people who I am and what I am and what I love to do and what I don't like to do. But I'm not the guy I don't have to go. I'm not going out there every day. And if I guess advertising, but it all depends on who you are too. You know, if there are folks out there that you know, I get it 100%. I know that the struggle is real. But it is definitely improved. And I always like to tell the guys that get frustrated by some of this stuff is like, you know, your work is always going to outshine. So if anybody out there ever tells you that, oh, you can't do this because you're gay, well, go out there and show them, prove them wrong. Mm-hmm. If you outwork them and you out wrestle them and you have a better match than they do, that cream is going to rise to the top. And if it doesn't, then you probably need to start we'll look for another place to work. Call me. I have plenty of connections. I have a lot of people we can call. You know, like I just hate to see that the struggle was real, but for you to be one of the ones that kind of, you know, was a trailblazer, if you will, to break that door down is really cool to hear, and it needs to be acknowledged and kind of praised a little bit from an openly gay man who was there when some of this stuff was just not even thought about or discussed. JB, I'm sorry, we kind of dominated there for just a second. I want to come around to you, sir, if you have any questions or anything you want to ask real quick. And
the whole conversation got really gay, right?
It got gay quick, didn't it, brother? See, that's what happens when we get together.
I have no problems with that. My only thing I just want to comment on is just for everything that, you know, you went through during that time, and you know, you may not see it, but you were a major factor, I'm sure, to many wrestlers. So, you know, thanks for that. I'll at least say thank you for all that you did.
Yeah. Well, you know, like I wasn't on a mission or anything, but I did try, you know, and hopefully I helped. Obviously I've been contacted over the years when people saw that I was out and helped them in their own, you know, ways, and helped. I hope I helped a lot of guys into professional wrestling. I know I helped at least a few. So, yeah, thank you.
Let me ask you this, because we come across you in Coastal Championship Wrestling, and I want to spend some time talking about that. So what gets
back off this conversation?
Oh, I will.
All right.
What gets you down to Florida, and how do you come across Coastal Championship Wrestling?
Well, we talked a little bit about this. My husband had passed away like before the pandemic, and a couple years later, I met somebody that was down here, and I started coming from Pennsylvania down here. I took some trips, and I was looking for a wrestling school to just come and work out at. When I came down here, and I just, you know, I discovered the CCW school was like, you know, 15 minutes away. I was like, yeah, I'll go and work out here. And I ended up deciding to move down here. And when I came in, it was just like, it was starting to catch fire. I was just like starting to run more and more shows. Last year, 2025, we did 102 shows, and we will do more than that in 2026. So, like, right place, right time. The owners ran shows that, like, our fundamentals are all the same. They like a 2-hour wrestling show. That's what a wrestling show is. It's 2 hours. It's nice, tight, action packed, violent. You know, like very heavy on, you know, personalities, you know. Yeah, I fit in pretty well. you know. So hopefully that's kind of where that started.
Well,
Right place, right time, and the saw the like same vision for professional wrestling, and at a time in my career where like I feel like I just fit in pretty well.
Well, obviously goes without saying, condolences on the passing of your husband, and I do,
Appreciate that.
I'm in a way, it brings you here, and if that didn't happen, and you didn't meet someone else and down the line and get stuff rolling and get things happening, you wouldn't have graced the Sunshine State with the sexiest king of all time in
That's right.
professional wrestling, period. And I think the great state of Florida owes you a thank you for coming down to show what thy sexy king should do. And you're 100% correct. With Coastal Championship Wrestling, it keeps picking up. It's gaining a lot of momentum. We've had the honor and privilege of talking to Cha Cha Charlie back in our early inception of these Beyond the Bells, and that dude
Cha Cha Charlie.
Yes. Well, I'm just saying he was on Beyond the Bell, bro. But you in 2025, I could not, and I was watching from a distance, right? Because I'm not the podcast guy that is gonna, again, like much like in my personal life, I don't have to go out and wave, and I'm not gonna wave with my podcast flag either. I just will watch, and we'll continue to watch and continue to watch. And over 2025, I started following you on Instagram, and I start seeing the rise. I start seeing this thing happening. And then, you roll in and you become the king of the territories. What did it mean to you when you win the right to become the king, not just the king, the sexiest king in professional wrestling?
Oh, those are like this. Yeah, I can't lie. This has been the best run I've ever had. It's been amazing. I'm having a blast.
And it
anytime
shows.
You see me out there, anytime you see me out there, I'm having the time of my life. Right? All these guys that I've been beating up for years, like I enjoy it. I enjoy getting in there. I enjoy the matches. I enjoy the fights. I enjoy my most loyal subjects who come to my defense and correct you.
Absolutely. They came with a quickness, by the way.
That's right. That's right. They come in fast. They know when to correct you. It's a royal correction.
Oh.
But the king is having a good time out there. King is having a good time.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the King's Court, if you will. How does all this come together? Because I'm gonna keep it real, man. JB and I, like I said, we sat down and watched the last Coastal show a week or so ago, and your cruiserweight champion, that guy has got some game on him. He is fantastic. But I want to know, how does it all come together? How does the whole package come together? Because I think it's gold. I think that there's so much that can be done with this. It's fucking great.
The Crown Prince, the marvelous Marvin Cruz. He's the heir apparent. The King's Court is a dynasty. So when it's his time, a long time from now, Marvin Cruz is going to be the future of CCW. You mark my words. He's gonna be CCW World Heavyweight Champion one day.
I'd love to sit down and chat with him.
He's a cruiserweight champion right now. In the future, he's got World Heavyweight Championship potential on him. No doubt about that. No doubt about that.
Damn sure.
That started. I had my Night Riders, the Night Riders tag team prior to becoming the King. And to get back at my old tag team partner, I was having tryouts for a new Night Rider. And I anticipated this to take weeks. Like over the course of shows, I would try out new Night Riders, and eventually I would find one. Except I found one on the first night. It was Marvin Cruz. He came out, and he's got the gift of gab. He talks incredible shit. I love the attitude. I love the cockiness, and he ain't afraid to fight. So perfect. I got my crown prince. I have the Black Knight, Alex Chamberlain, CCW's most dangerous man, and I defy anybody to challenge that. If you're familiar with Alex Chamberlain's work, he's no nonsense. He's a shark. He's a killer in there. So we had been working with him previously, so I had a good connection with him, and I brought him on board as the Black Knight, and then we have our King's Court.
Well, you forgot one new member to the King's Court, and I guess I would be the court jester after that post that the
most
loyal
interesting
subjects.
Man.
Well, the loyal subjects, they definitely got me quickly, and I guess I'm just the clown now because I fucked it up. I do apologize, Your Highness.
We do have Alon, CCW's the most interesting man, Alon. Count Alon. I brought him on board. He's been working with us with the King's Court. Yep. So he's still finding his way.
I love it. I love the whole deal, man. I love how it's all coming and how y'all are playing it. It's fucking fantastic. JB, let me come around to you because I know now we're into some more modern stuff that you've got some you may have some questions on.
Well, I mean, I sort of want to go similar direction, but not quite the same because I want to talk about the CCW Heavyweight Championship.
Yes.
I remember Chris and I watched the anniversary show, and we came in thinking, "Oh, is he really going to take down Meadow?" I think it was. And I mean, that was a great match, but it was such a moment when we saw the championship.
I was so pissed.
I had so many plans in place for Meadow. Like it took a lot. It took a lot to beat Meadow. Meadow's no joke. He's no joke at all. You get in the ring with him, and he's a beast. He's intense, and he doesn't mess around. He threw me around like I weighed nothing. There's a picture of me. He caught me in a German suplex, and he's little. You see, yeah. You want to see the look of terror on the King's face. That's it right there. Like he threw me like I was nothing. So it took a lot. It took a lot to get there, but I did it. I did it. The King got it done.
When you get this opportunity, man, like I really, it could be from the King's perspective. It could be your own perspective because I see it like this, man. Like CCW is one of the top feds in Florida, if not the top fed in Florida. I mean, it's just, and this is just from a guy who watches a lot of independent wrestling. And to you be the guy, at this point in time in your career, because earlier you'd mentioned that 2025 was your best year, and there's no denying that. And you get this shot to be the guy on top of one of, if not the biggest promotion in one of the biggest wrestling states in the United States. I'm kind of wanting to know what's going through your mind at this point when the belt's in your hand. And I don't know, like probably because I'll never be there and I'll never be able to experience something like that.
I'm in the moment. I don't know what you see is what you're getting. Like I'm out there having fun. I'm cutting loose. Like, so I'm not analyzing the moment when I'm in the moment.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting there going like, wow, what does this like mean for me or anything like that. I'm just enjoying the feeling, man. And I enjoy that. Like I enjoy like the crowd's reaction, and finally, like getting to the top. Like I'm just enjoying it. The pressure comes afterward. that's when heavy as the crown and all that. You know what I mean? Like I think anybody that's carrying any promotions championship, their heavyweight championship, they're should feel pressure, because the pressure is on you. Like you're expected to go out there and draw. You gotta sell tickets, draw money. I take that very seriously. So there's a lot of pressure I put on myself for it, because now that's like everybody's looking at you, right? And that's the way it should be.
Well, you went on a run, man, and had a tremendous little piece of business with it, and I could just see, even from clips online, not necessarily from you, but definitely people who were attending events, and
it's not over.
I know, we're just getting started.
We're in the middle of it.
We're just getting started. You get the championship,
right,
and you go on this run with the belt. Now coming out of the run has been kind of interesting to see, because it's we're just a couple of months deep into this, so I'm and the layers is already happening. Like, I'm watching this show back, and I'm not necessarily hearing I'm hearing boos for the King. I'm also hearing some Eddie chants, and I'm hearing some Valentine chants. You think some of these some of the subjects, if you will, are starting to come around to the King, the true King?
I am the one true king, and I have my most loyal subjects, but there's a lot of dirty peasants out there that haven't seen the light of the sexiest king alive yet, and they want to boo, they want to jeer, but they there's no denying the sexiest king alive. So they'll all come around eventually. They'll see Domino. El Rey Estúpido. El Rey Estúpido Pendaza de Mierda.
Here we go.
They'll see him. I'll expose him for who he is. I hate that guy.
Well,
I hate Domino. I have since his first. We have fought more than anybody. Fought each other more times than I think we fought anybody else in CCW.
The history is deep.
And that's never going to end.
No, it doesn't look like it anytime soon, especially based off of what transpired in the Miami street fight, and how all that shook out and how all that played out. And I do want to also take a minute to say, while 2025 was an incredible in-ring year for you, easy for me to say, congratulations on breaking the top 500 as well. That was to me is a big accomplishment. There are a lot of fucking professional wrestlers out there, and to be even considered now, depending on who you are and what's your view on lists or aren't, it's kind of irrelevant, because this is there and it's real. So like, congratulations on busting that top 500, because again, not trying to put words in your mouth by any means, to me, that's a pretty big fucking deal.
Yeah, I was on one other time in 2000, the year 2000. I think I made the list.
Two-time list maker.
So 25 years apart. I will say it was a bigger deal to me in 2000. And it was this. I appreciate it, and it was it was very awesome. And people do take it, there is a lot more competition now than certainly there was 25 years ago. So I do take it. It's like, wow, there's a lot there are a lot more people competing for these 500 spots than there were in the year 2000. So that I'm like, okay, wow, that's super cool. And I'm slightly higher than I was 25 years ago. So I was like, super. We are slowly another 25 years. Maybe I'll hit the like 420s or something.
I mean, hey, I'm here for it. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I think it's dope.
As long as I'm moving up. Slowly but surely.
That's all that matters. Making progress.
Yeah.
That's what I used to tell people all the time about my fucking channel. They're like, "Oh,
I'm on King time."
That's right. You're on your own time.
I'm on King time, royal time.
JV, let me come around to you. What you got?
Oh, I mean, at this point, we don't want to get into the future yet. So,
I was actually going to 2026 and where we're at now, and what the future does hold for our Royal Highness. So if you go right ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious what your sights are set on for 2026. Do you have a list of goals that need to be announced, to the peasants that you're going to accomplish in 2026?
The tag team championships.
Okay.
So that's 5-star era. We're gonna take those.
Ooh.
Marvin Cruz is gonna continue to keep the Cruiserweight Championship. And he will be the longest reigning Cruiserweight Championship CCW has ever seen. Right? And we are gonna break El Rey de la Mierda, Domino. Right? We're gonna break him. There's not going to be any letting up on that. But having said that, I'm backing Domino against Gangrel whenever that match happens.
Yeah, so you can kick the shit out. So you can kick the shit out of Domino and get the belt back. You don't have to deal with Gangrel.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
It's a perfect plan.
I fought both. And I've decided in this instance, it's better for Domino to win the heavyweight championship from Gangrel. So, in my opinion, I'm backing Domino in that fight if he had to put a gun to my crowned head, and I had to pick one. Plus, Gangrel is the one that robbed.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about.
Robbed the king of my rightful royal property and put me in this position to begin with.
Yeah, we don't talk
we'll come back around to that.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
Gangrel either.
Well, yeah, okay. As long as you rewrite the wrong. I'm not over that yet, and I don't know if I ever will be. And that's a shoot. I don't know if I'll ever be over that. I'm not just my heart's broken. Legitimate.
The problem with liking the fight and liking to start fights is you end up with a lot of enemies.
Yeah.
You got your Dominoes, you got Gangrel, you get Legends, you get Cha-Cha Charlie, another one.
JV, he's throwing out some names here.
He is. We've been fans of Cha-Cha Charlie, so we'll have to be careful with that one.
JV said you gotta be careful with that one. That's hilarious. He's the king. I don't think he has to be careful with anything. Yeah, in the silence, he's not even entertaining it at all. So let me ask you this. In all seriousness, this is like, I really, actually, this is probably going to be one of the most serious questions I ask, because this is legit. I mean it. I truly have got to know at this point in time, because we've spent an hour together thus far on the air. And as we all know, I was the guy that fucked this up to begin with. Do you think I've earned the right to not necessarily be a peasant anymore after my monumental mistake by just labeling you? Oh,
no, anybody can be a loyal subject to the crown. You just got to swear fealty
Yes.
And recognize that when people don't refer to the king in the proper fashion, you got to correct it. A royal correction is in order.
Thank you, Your Highness. I truly do
Oh,
appreciate
no problem. I'll give you a royal pardon.
Oh, thank you. That's been bothering me for days. This happened days ago. Let me ask you this. We'll kind of ask these questions as we roll into our last segment of the show here. And for me, these questions are like, I always call them like the crucial and critical ones, because our platform has come a long way in kind of a short period of time. And we've been able to do a lot that I didn't even think was going to be fucking possible. And here we are. And I always ask these questions because we've had a lot of success in the past with a lot of people who've come on our show, and we cast a wide net. So for me, with us being indie wrestling, and we do it all international here in the States, we don't miss. We're in every continent, and we see a lot. And for us to see a lot, we also miss a lot because we can't watch everything. And these are all indie related. So my first question for you is, from your perspective, and I know that you're rocking it in Florida. You're doing some good shit down here right now, and truly thank you for that, because the character work and just the work in general is top notch. You make people want to hate you, and it's great. From that perspective, are there any companies out there that on the independent scene that if you had an opportunity to do some work with, where would they be? Where would you want to dip that toe?
Well, I mean, honestly, like, I have so much work to do with CCW. I'm not looking at anywhere else, like, right now. Not that it's like, if somebody wanted me to come in, I would certainly would. Look at the offer when I have time and everything. But I do a lot outside of just wrestling for Coastal Championship Wrestling. So, like, my time and my energy is devoted to making Coastal Championship Wrestling and getting it to every level possible. So that's why I got, and as that's not, I'm not a younger man anymore.
Yeah, no.
I'm a mature, wiser king now, and my body's limited, my energy's limited, and where I put my focus to is it's going to be in Coastal Championship Wrestling. So if you want to see the king, like, you're gonna have to come to Coastal Championship Wrestling. You're gonna have to watch Coastal Championship Wrestling shows. That's possible exceptions, like, potentially, but not anything I'm planning on or have coming up, or where I'm looking outside at other places right now.
No,
not that I don't look at other wrestling companies. I always like to watch. I watch other promotions, wrestling shows and stuff like that. But yeah, as far as outside promotions, there's some people that if you told me, there's a couple people, we thought about this, and I want to work wrestle. Yeah, I got a couple of those.
Well, yeah, go ahead and give me those names. But before you do that, actually, no, we're going to come back to that in just a second, because my ADHD is going to kick in, and I'm totally going to forget, because I just picked up what you fucking threw down. And I want to push that to the side for a second, because if that's the case, I want to ask you this then. What do you think the goals, or what are the goals for CCW as a whole moving forward into 2026? Because we touched briefly, and it was over 100 plus shows last year. There's more than that coming this year. And your perspective, like, what kind of growth would you like to see, or do you think that the company can achieve on the trajectory that y'all are on? Because you guys are CCW in general. You're tearing it up. Like, it literally, they call themselves touring. CCW tours Florida. They don't miss a lot. And I think that's kind of cool. So let me ask you that question, if you can answer that question.
I mean, what any growth and expansion? Right. That's to put it in the easiest terms without going into detail. Like we have opportunities for growth and expansion, and we're going to take advantage of them.
I'm here for it, and
Yeah,
I'll
keep that short and sweet. And,
nope, I get it, and I understand completely. Now, some people that you do want to be in the ring with, who's floating out there? Because you teased that just a second ago.
There's two, and it'll probably surprise a lot of people. There's one there's a tag team I've been watching in Juggalo Championship Wrestling, The Outbreak.
Okay.
Do you guys know the Outbreak?
Vaguely.
The zombies?
Yes. Okay. I wanted to make sure I was. I wanted to make sure I was right. Because I've seen them.
I think they're a great tag
once.
Yeah, I think they're a great tag team. I would love to have a match with the Outbreak. Wrestle them anytime. There is a Northwestern guy, and I hope I'm Elliot Tyler.
Okay.
So if you guys, I watched a match last year. He did it was a dog collar match. It was one of the best dog collar matches I've ever seen. So I didn't get the fucking name wrong, but like Elliot Tyler, like watch his work, and he can talk, and he's got an attitude. Like, and I'm a fan of his work. So check out Elliot Tyler too.
Okay. All right.
So for people out, those are names outside of CCW. Like a couple CCW names to keep an eye on. Elliot Crow.
Okay.
He's gonna be a star. Kristen Blaze, Sarah Wilder, Alon, obviously the most interesting man. Daniel Lacey.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on him. He's going to be teaming with the King's Court for the first time this Saturday, and Doral at Rumble in the Jungle against Domino and the 5-Star Era. So he's another one to keep an eye on.
That's going to be fantastic. 6-man tag. Oh, don't tease me.
Just throw some names out there. I will name every person on the roster if you give me. We'll sit here for hours.
Oh no, we'll just dive deeper into CCW on the channel is what we'll do. That's how that'll work. What I like to do is I wait, especially unless I have an affiliation. Like there's a lot of companies that we have affiliations with, and then I can just go and I'll watch their stuff and stream their stuff, and they're all cool with it. But I try not to do too much too soon. But when I did see that show with CCW was out, I went, we got to see this. We got to see this. And I was like, that you were in the main in a street fight, and I went, oh, this is gonna be too good. We gotta watch this. So it's like this must see, and I'm gonna be keeping my eye out because I guarantee you this. I'm in Florida and I'm in Gainesville, so I'm gonna be keeping my eyes in Orlando and in the Tampa area. And I know you guys run there frequently, and I just got to make sure that I can get time together to come down because I'm gonna come and see the King live. I have to experience it live and feel the room. And just see everything in person.
I do want to take time to mention this. There's in Kissimmee this weekend. We're running 3 shows. We're running Nashville, in Kissimmee, Orlando. There's the Jaka memorial show that we were. If you're in the Orlando, if you're not in the Orlando area, go and see that show. That man was loved. Mm-hmm. And there are a ton of wrestling stars that are going to be on that show wrestling to honor his memory. And we also have Doral, Rumble in the Jungle down, in this southern part of the state. So, but I wanted to mention the Jaka show. It was very important.
Absolutely. You guys, if you're out in the area this weekend, you need to go and attend this. You need to make that happen. Show your support. It's the easiest thing you can do. JB, let me come around to you. Do you got anything else? You got anything you want to ask?
No, I'm very thankful we got to have this interview. It was wonderful to sit down with you, Your Highness. And it's been great hearing all the stories and everything and learning that much more about you as we go into 2026.
All right. Well, thank you, gentlemen. It's been your royal privilege.
It has been my privilege. You're absolutely correct, Your Highness. In all seriousness, man, I do appreciate you coming in and giving us a little bit of time. But I also know that these conversations that I have with people, they're just intended to scratch the surface. They're meant to set up a future return in the hopes that you had a good time and that you want to come back and hang out with us down the line. I really appreciate a little bit of the insight that we've gotten into what got you to present and a little bit about what we're going to see in the future. I think you're entertaining as fuck. I love what you guys are doing out there in the King's Court and the whole deal. I think it's tremendous stuff, and I will make a point to get to a show where I can experience it live and in person myself, just because I have to at this point. And for those of you out there watching, I'm so sorry about this. For all of you on Twitch, all of you on X, and over on YouTube, the easiest way that you can show your support is by like, sharing, and subscribing. And our guest today, Mr. Eddie Valentine, has been on the screen the entire show. It's right underneath him. It's Eddie Valentine IG on Instagram. Go give him a follow. Also, while you're at it, CCW Alive. I believe it's CCW Alive on Instagram, and I think it's TV on YouTube. Instagram, CCW Alive. On YouTube at CCW Alive TV. Go follow and subscribe. Those are free, guys. Doesn't cost you anything. And then you too can stay in the loop on everything that's going on with Our Highness. He is the man. Mr. Valentine, it's been my pleasure, sir. Is there anything you would like to say to the people? Anything you want to plug? Anything you want to throw out there before we tie a bow on things?
No, I'm just going to tell everybody that everyone in the last territory will learn to bend the knee before me and beg for mercy.
For the king, Mr. Eddie Valentine, and my co-host tonight, JB, I am Chris Page. We will see you next time.